This community is an important community. You're in the United States of America. This country is going through immense problems right now. We have 2 wars that they're worse than mistakes. A mistake is something that there's some redemption in mistakes. But when you have gross injustice, when the Pope tells you, the Pope, one out of every 4 Americans, 25% of Americans are Catholic. When the Pope tells you that this is an unjust war and you claim to be a Christian, and here's somebody who's working with traditional Christian ethics, and he says the war in Iraq does not fit just war criterion in the Christian religion, that's a bad sign. Because if you go against your own teaching, and many of these people claim to be Christians, if you go against your own teaching, you have no aid from God. And we believe, see, people get upset or get uneasy when you say these things, even though if you read the second inaugural address of Abraham Lincoln, he argued that much of the tribulation that was happening during the Civil War was a direct result of the sins of the American people that were perpetrated against African Americans. The sin of slavery, the sin of the injustices towards a minority population that were being treated as less than human. If you said that now, you're laughed out, you're made fun of on television. But we have a religion, la yakhafuna lawmata la'im. We're told not to fear the blame that's heaped upon you by people that throw blame at you. We believe that when you do injustice, God does things to you. It's cause and effect. You can't change that. And Americans, we have to ask ourselves, all of these tribulations that have afflicted us, where are they coming from? Maybe we need to reassess, return to God, ask forgiveness, admit that we were wrong, admit that 1 million Iraqis did nothing to deserve death as a result of the American invasion of Iraq. Just admit that. It was wrong. People were killed that should have never been killed, and it was wrong and unjust. Just admit that. Admit that going in to Afghanistan to attack a whole nation because of the actions of a criminal gang inside that nation, no criminal justice system could do that. Now, they're finally beginning to discuss this problem in foreign affairs, foreign policy. They have an article about dealing with this as a criminal justice problem. It should have always been dealt with as a criminal justice problem. You can't have a war with the biggest army in the world against a gang that is smaller and far less effective than the mafia. Far less effective than the mafia. The Al-Qaeda has nothing on the mafia. And yet an entire nation has been moved towards these people. There have been, last year, 33 Americans died in terrorist attacks. Last year, 33. 15,000 died from low tire pressure in their cars. But we don't have a war on low tire pressure. Seriously, far more people die. You're more likely to get struck by lightning than killed in a terrorist attack. And yet this is the type of fear we need to reassess. We need to remind people. And I'm telling you, we've got nutcases, unfortunately, in our religion. But we're a large religion, and it's just statistical fact that when you have large numbers of people, you will have people that aren't well. You'll have people that are not well, and then if you compound that with bombing those people, with aggressing against those people, then unfortunately people are going to get upset. And we need to remind people, we do not justify terrorism. None of us, I don't think anybody in here believes in terrorism, and if you do, I hope that you stop believing in it, because it's simply wrong, whether it's a state terrorizing a people or small groups of vigilantes terrorizing peoples within a state. Either way, terror is wrong. It's wrong to terrorize people. We're people that believe in rules of engagement. We're people that believe in international law. We have law. International law was invented by the Muslims. Ahkam al-Siyar. There was no international law before the Hanafi madhab. It didn't exist. Muslims invented international law, but when you say international community, the international community, and you don't include 1/4 of the population, which is Muslim, you exclude that part of the international community, and then the international community becomes the G7, and then you say, why can't these people just get on the program? Why can't we get on the program? Because we're not on the program. لن ترضى عنك اليهود ولا النصارى حتى تتبع ملتهم. They won't be pleased with you until you do exactly what they say. Well, unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. You might want to conquer the world, but the world might not want to be conquered by you. We have to recognize, and we're here in the United States of America. You know, this is Memorial Day. This is Memorial Weekend to remember, really to remember. There are many people that sacrifice. Many of you we're living the fruits of sacrifice. That's real. And my father's a World War II veteran. My father got a special dispensation in his senior year of high school to get an early graduation at the age of 17 to join the United States Air Force. Because that's what young people were doing, to go and fight Hitler or to fight the Japanese in the South Pacific. One of my grandfathers was an officer in the Revolutionary War. My family goes all the way back. I have a grandfather, a direct grandfather on my mother's side that was an officer in the Revolutionary War. And we have a newspaper clipping of him marching on Independence Day in Georgia. He was given land in Georgia, probably Cherokee land, So I'm part of this country. Imam Suhaib, man, I'm sorry, you can't tell us to go back where we came from. We've been here a while. We've been here a while, seriously. So we're part of this country, and anybody that migrated legally to this country, you're part of this country, because that's what this country is about. It's always had immigrants come to these shores, and that's what the Statue of Liberty, the famous poem by Emma Lazarus, calling, send all your refuse to me, right? We're the garbage of the world, according to that poem. Send all your refuge, right, to my shores, and I'll embrace them. Come on, welcome, marhaban, ahlan wa sahlan. That's America, ahlan wa sahlan. And then, boom, as you get off the boat. That's what happened. My great-grandfather, 1838, got off the boat, and he was an Irish Catholic, and he fell smack into the Irish Catholic riots where the Protestants went out and bashed the Irish and burnt all their churches down in Philadelphia, because he lived in Philadelphia. That's what was welcome to America for my great-grandfather. So don't, if you come here and they actually did say welcome to America to you guys, you're lucky. Seriously, you have to consider yourselves lucky. But your legal immigrants here, people with green cards, your children are born in the United States of America. Like Bruce Springsteen said, born in the USA, that's what they are. Right? لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد. God swears by this land, and you are a legal citizen of this city. The Prophet is hil in the city of Mecca. They had no right to chase him out. Everybody's here for right. We have to obey the laws. Law-abiding citizens. We have to be productive citizens. Many of the Muslims are providing great services to this country. And we have to let the people that are afraid, there's people that have fears. You need to let them be aware that we're here for good. We have every once in a while somebody that is related to our religion is misguided, thinks they're doing a good deed. There's Christians that go and shoot abortion doctors thinking they're doing a good deed, or blow up abortion clinics thinking they're doing a good deed. People in all religions go wrong. We had a rabbinical student, we as a species, not me, but we as a species had a rabbinical student in the state, in Israel, who killed Rabin, shot him believing he was doing something that was good based on his religious training. Religion goes wrong, secularism goes wrong, people go wrong. But the only way that you can ensure that you're going to have the best conditions is by, one, inculcating mercy in people's hearts, but also inculcating a sense of justice and honesty in people's hearts. If you don't have justice, you're going to have troubles. You can't have peace without justice. But you also, despite the injustices of the world, you need to have mercy, because this is the essence of our Prophet's teaching. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.